What is going on, everyone? Matthew97657 here, and today we are back with yet another figure unboxing and review. And as the title and thumbnail says, this is going to be the SH Figurarts Kamen Rider Gavv Bitter Gavv Sparkin Gummy form. So with that being said, nothing more to it. Let me get on right on into it. And alas, we do have the box here. There you have a quick synopsis of the Figurarts line, as well as some stock images. There you go, Kamen Rider Bitter Gavv as well, and then some more stock images, you know, kind of the stuff you'd imagine, and then a title, and then on the bottom there, stuff like that. So yeah, yep, pretty much your most standard type of box display for Figurarts. I like how there's a little cola, a little gummy cola there, especially seen throughout the show. So let me go ahead and grab our handy dandy knife. Wrong one. There we go. Handy dandy knife right here. I'd imagine that the instructions will be on the side of the box. So, yep, it looks like we have some instructions there, just kind of giving an idea of how it works. Looks like with the hands as well as the parts that might brush up against each other around the shoulders and around the thigh area. And so this side is probably going to be the accessories. Yep. All right, so we have all the accessories here. We have a set of hands as well as the Bitter Gavv blade as well. So very cool to see. We're gonna go ahead and set our box down gently right there. And ta-da! There is the plastic prison. Let's go ahead and take away the knife real quick safely. And let us see. There we have our little plastic there. Let me grab the figure out. I like how there's like a little piece of plastic for the actual Gavv itself. That's very cool. Just to protect it so it doesn't get all scuffed up and stuff. But I'm going to set the figure down there while I get everything else out, just so you guys can get a first impression. We have our Bitter Gavv blade over here. And then, like I said, we do have a couple of different hand sets. So I'm just going to toss them into my hand and then just kind of let them float around while I look. Although I will say they pretty much are what you'd imagine they would be, if that makes any sense. So it looks like some of them are in use right now, but no, it's two different hands, huh? Okay, so here it is. This is the Sparkin Gummy form for Bitter Gavv. Let's go ahead and take off these little plastic protectors that that are used to just not scuff up the metallic paint job while it's in the box, which is always nice, just so you can get it as clean as possible once you first get it. Man, this one's giving me a little bit of a challenge. Come on. Come on. Almost there. Okay, we got that one, and there's one more underneath. There we go. All right, so it looks like that is it for the plastic, the protective plastic. And here it is. Obviously, the Sparkin Gummy form for Bitter Gavv, the first Bitter Gavv that we see within the show. Very cool. Obviously, I keep saying obvious, sorry. But most notably taking form after the Poppin' Gummy form for Kamen Rider Gavv. Just have a little bit of a pose there. I really do like it. It's I really like the colors, first off. I do like the red. It's kind of got like a bloody red, and then it kind of turns into like a yellow and as it goes down within like different parts of the suit. So like the arm piece there, you can kind of see some yellowing, and then at the bottom, just kind of like near the edge, it starts to yellow. On the back side, nothing too crazy. Just kind of like the base suit, as you can see. But I really love the purple eyes. The purple eyes really make it stand out. So that is just awesome. And then you do have the driver there, the Bitter Gavv driver. And there you go. You can see the Sparkin Gummy as well. So very cool. You can close that to the best of the ability. And the detail on the Gavv itself is pretty good. Obviously, the Gummy itself is, the Gochizo is not painted. It's just like a clear translucent. It's really, really dark. You can kind of see the reflection there. But the actual driver there is pretty detailed, so that's always nice. Oh, it even comes with the spiky Vrocan, I believe, on the side there. It's kind of hard to see, since it's literally just like purple, but you see it glossing right there. Very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the articulation here after my initial design thoughts. Very, very fun. So let's go ahead and start off with the head, up, down, and all the way around, stuff like that. And then arms, pretty good. Obviously can't come up. The shoulder piece is kind of in the way. Let me see if I can move this up. Not really. I can't really move it up too well. just because of that piece. But you do have a little bit of an elbow joint there. You can twist the arm, so you can twist the arm as well as the fist, what you'd imagine. And then for the abdomen region, your standard like ab crunch, if you will, there. And then to the legs here, you can kick up, not too much, but you can kick up. If you turn it, you can kind of get a little bit higher than that. You can go all the way around. Yep, all the way around. And then let's move that out of the way. Knee joints, very good. And then you have a foot joint that rotates. And then the little toe joint that comes up. So pretty standard, it's what you'd expect. It's not, really too insane. It's what you'd imagine it to be. Sorry, just mix of the words there. But yeah, for the base figure, it's definitely a nice standing piece. I think, I'm just kind of having fun with it right now. It's a pretty good standing piece. Let's go ahead and set it down so it doesn't fall while I'm doing this. Here is the bitter blade as well. You can see the dark hints of the purple, the black, and then the kind of like pink undertones here on this part of the blade. And then really bright, like gummish pink for the button there. And then on the back side, it's always funny because like that's where the speaker is, I think, on the actual like sword itself. Right in here, it's kind of hard to see. My camera's not picking up that well, but it's right there, that little circle. It's always funny how they still sculpt it in, but it's pretty lengthy. It's a pretty decent size, the bitter blade, so I cannot complain about that. And so yeah, the only thing when it comes to stuff like this is obviously if you want to take out the gochizos, you just have to be pretty careful. I'd actually be kind of surprised if it fit on here, but I don't think there's a slot for that specifically on the button there. So we're gonna go ahead and showcase some of the hands real quick with some different poses, even maybe holding the blade. So here we go. All right, so we just did a quick accessory change. Got a little bit of a different hand piece there and kind of got it in a little bit of a taunting pose. Just kind of the silliness that you'd expect from some of the bitter Gavvs. And yeah, the blade itself looks very nice, and you can just have a lot of expression with it. So very cool, very cool. I actually really like this pose. You can kind of change it up, if you want to bring the blade up to the shoulder, which I'm not really sure if that one looks any better compared to where it's kind of out and about. Like that. Not bad. I really do like it. You can get a lot of expression out of it, even just with the hands holding the blade, stuff like that. Very cool. So let's go ahead and see another set of hands, see what other little fun poses we can get with it as well. So stay with me, don't fall. Here we go. All right, so I kind of went with like the base form after the transformation, kind of with the arms flailed about. It kind of looks a bit awkward because like those are kind of like the elbow pieces, those red pieces that are connecting towards it. So it looks a little bit awkward in terms of trying to get to it, but I think it came out pretty well. I kind of wanted to go for some of that like disfigured type of thing, because I mean like there's a couple moments where like the shoulder joints were just like out and about, and like whenever he's fighting, I think it was maybe the first or the second one, where like his body would get all mangled up, and but that was just kind of like the way he fought. So you could always do something like really weird, like the arms not being the way they're supposed to be, all flailed out, bones popping out. So you can kind of go with something like that. I think that's also a very cool way to pose something like this, just because of that's how some of the bitter Gavvs operated. They were just very loose, I guess, if you would. But still very cool nonetheless to see that range of motion that can be replicated. It's a little bit tricky, like I said, to get it out with these little shoulder pads. You kind of have to play with them, move them around to kind of get your ideal pose, but still pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get one more set of accessories, and then we'll go on to the comparisons and conclude it. Here we go. All right, so I kind of went with more of a silly kind of one, doing a little bit of a point and wave with this one, just because I think some of them acted also very like childish. But I think that was the concept they were going with the clones. Some of them were childish. Some of them were like really, I think one of them was like obsessed with power. And one of them, I'm not sure, exuded fear. But I do know that some of them had a little bit of like different personalities. But I think eventually they kind of rounded out to where like one of them was just like super silly. There was like skipping and stuff like that. So kind of wanted to do something like that just for fun. after some of the more serious showcases, or at least that's the way they would kind of fight. Very sloppy fighting, but very powerful. But yeah, let's go ahead and fix up into a standard dynamic pose, and then we will go ahead and do some comparisons to conclude. Here we go. All right, so I said I was going to go for a dynamic pose, but I just ended up going with more of a standard one just to showcase, the base figure, although I do have some of the other figures more into a dynamic pose. So obviously we do have the foil comparison with the popping gummy form versus the sparking gummy form, and I just really like the color contrast. You have like the purple, the blue, the yellow, but then whenever you get to the bitter Gavv, it's just red and yellow, which I actually really do like. I really like the contrast within both of these. So it's actually very cool to see, even with the blade, you got the red and black compared to more of like a purple black with like some highlights of hot pink in there. So very cool. I really do like the comparisons between the two. I think they stand out really nicely with one another. So that was the popping gummy form. Let's go ahead and bring out the Kamen Rider Valen. Sorry, I just don't want them to fall. That's the only thing. So definitely these two saw their fair share of battles with Valen's. I knew it was going to fall. Definitely saw their fair share of battles within Valen's kind of mistrust arc, if you will, with Shoma. But they ended up working it out, which is awesome. And so you definitely got some cool fight scenes with base Valen and Sparking Gummy bitter Gavv. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and just show off Kamen Rider Rim as well. Man, I just don't... These things I feel like are always so close to falling. And Ram also saw his fair share of battles with the Sparking Gummy form, especially around that time where he kind of sides more with the allies compared to the Summit Company. But yeah, that is about it for now. I think that is going to go ahead and wrap it up. I actually really liked it. I feel like it's not like, like an explosive release. It's been a while since we've seen it in the show. It's been a long time, ever since maybe like 30s, maybe like high 20s. And then we never really saw him again. So I think there was definitely a little bit more that people wanted out of bitter Gavv, which, this form especially, which I actually don't. I don't mind, it would have been cool to see a little bit more, maybe like one of them that has like converted to good as well, something like that, but it ended up happening. But I really do like the design, which is also just chef's kiss. So if you are a fan of the design and at least the form of characters, because it's not one singular character, but the form of characters that bitter Gavv Sparking Gummy takes on, I think it's a pretty good figure. Like I said, it's not like anything, made me want to do a backflip. Not to say that every release should make me want to do that. I just really like the mold. I really like the mold. Got the parts here, and I like the coloration and the contrast to Shoma in terms of where that went within the show. So yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it off here with this one. I think next up for some of the SH Figurarts we have left are Blizzard Sorbet. I believe that one's coming out relatively soon. And then we have bitter Gavv Marbled Bray Cookie as well. And then we have Amazing Gummy form. And then Valen Frappe Custom, which I cannot wait to get my hands on that. That is, oh my goodness, I cannot wait. So I'm already showing my excitement now, but I will definitely be super excited. So hopefully they do end up making the final forms, more of the final forms, because I really do love all those final forms. They look really nice in suit. So let me know what you guys thought of the SH Figurarts Kamen Rider bitter Gavv figure. It was a blast. It was fun. Definitely going to have some fun photography with the other riders as well. Just, have some fun with them. Maybe do some Photoshop, make it look a little bit cleaner. But with that being said, for the last time, let me know what you guys thought of the SH Figurarts Kamen Rider bitter Gavv figure. And I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.